Hello, and welcome to this special Earth Day panel discussion, which is a part of the Smart Energy Education Initiative. My name is Juan Garcia. I'm the president of Disco Learning Media, as well as the co-executive producer of Power Trip, The Story of Energy, and I'll be serving as your moderator. I hope you enjoyed this screening of the best of Power Trip Season 1. Filmed around the world, Power Trip uncovers the hidden energy that is embedded in our modern way of life and takes viewers like you on a journey through the past, present, and future of energy. This is an especially important topic to learn about on Earth Day because the future of energy is you. You are our innovators of tomorrow, and you can help us create a more resourceful world. Before I introduce our esteemed speakers, I want to let our audience know that you can submit questions to our panel via the OV platform chat feature. Both I and our host at KLRN will be keeping an eye on the chat, so please keep those questions coming in. I'm excited to help facilitate what is sure to be an exciting and educational conversation about the environment and energy careers. Joining us on the panel are Julia Murphy, the Deputy Chief Sustainability Officer in the City of San Antonio's Office of Sustainability. Heather Ginsberg, the Field Education Programs Coordinator for the San Antonio Water System. And Angela Rodriguez, the Director of Climate Strategy and Sustainability at CPS Energy. So let's all just dive in. I know we are limited on time for today's conversation, but very excited to talk about this. And I want to start with something that seems like a no-brainer maybe to all of us, but maybe isn't a no-brainer to everyone out there, which is, well, what does Earth Day have to do with energy and water? Why are we talking about that on a day like today? So Angela, I'm going to start with you. Why are energy and water so important to talk about on Earth Day?
Thank you. So obviously energy and water is really what makes our homes and our businesses successful, and they give us really all the way of life that we enjoy today. And the reason on Earth Day it's so important is we have to really think about, from an energy perspective and a water perspective, how can we reduce our impact on the environment? So utilities, like where I work, we can do some of the big things like adding solar, adding wind, figuring out how to store energy so that we can use it when the wind is not blowing and the sun isn't shining. But also you as an individual, how can you change your behaviors, not just on Earth Day, but all year long? Like, can I do laundry? Like if I'm a night owl, can I do laundry at nighttime when less people are using energy, or when more wind energy is on the grid? Just anything we can do every day, not just Earth Day, to have less impact on the environment.
No, that's great. And Heather, to pick up on that, as also a representative of a utility, tell us from your perspective on the water side. I mean, why is it important that we're talking about that? Because we've got water everywhere, right? The earth is made of water, right? Shouldn't we just be using all the water all the time? Perhaps not, but.
Thank you, Juan. Yes, well, I mean, it was said in the video. I wrote the quote down. Water is life, and energy is the tool we use to enjoy the water. Water is life. Water touches every part of our life every single day. So when we celebrate Earth Day, we can't really celebrate Earth Day without considering water and celebrating water. And when we celebrate water, then hopefully we're also celebrating and making people aware that we need to save it and we need to protect it fiercely.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Julia, now thinking about the perspective of a city and then all of the individual inhabitants, to piggyback on something that Angela was saying there, that as the utility, there are certain steps they can take and process they can take in order to help make things more energy efficient. But really, it kind of comes down to each of us as individuals, right? And so what is the city of San Antonio doing to think about that, and especially from the perspective of sustainability?
Well, thank you, and happy Earth Day, everyone. And also go Cougs. I am a proud graduate of Clark High School, and I understand y'all are on the line today. So glad you're joining in. So I do work for the city of San Antonio, and our superpower in local government is policy. And so to the extent that we elect elected officials who can then direct the agenda of the way that they want our city to move into the future, that is how we as individuals can influence what we would like in the city, is by picking those people that are representing us. So one of the things that we have done in the past few years is pass our first city climate action and adaptation plan. And within that plan is a very strong call to action around natural resource conservation, which includes water, which includes land, the air that we breathe, all of the things that are essential for human life on this planet. And as was noted in the video, most people live in cities these days, and yet we depend on the country, if you will, to sustain the cities. But I loved the speaker that talked about how cities can be a tool to save our planet, for that matter. We just have to harness the right policy, use our utilities in the right way, conserve water, conserve energy. And, that is going to bode us well for future generations and repairing the damage that we have done.
That's so very true. And I'm happy to hear about these steps that San Antonio is taking. And this is great. And sort of piggybacking on what you're saying there, Julia, too, back down to, each individual person, even students. I mean, there are things that students can do today already, even if they're not a part of the workforce, right? There are things that there are opportunities for volunteering, different organizations. Maybe they're in school, after school, or maybe there's something outside of school. But Heather, tell me about some opportunities that you know about that are already available for students.
Well, I'm very proud to live and work in San Antonio because collectively, San Antonio has a lot of programs for students across all of our organizations. CPS is here, the city is here. CPS has programs for students and an educator for students. The city has all kinds of amazing programs and the SA Smart City Challenge. SAWS, we have a really robust K-12 education program. We also have programs for adults. We have a conservation department with other programs. We have internships. So we really value educating our students in our city and at SAWS. And I'm really proud to live in San Antonio.
Those sound like some really amazing programs. And Angela, I know at CPS Energy, there are internships and other opportunities that are available for students. And one of the reasons that CPS is offering these is because we do see that our students aren't, even they're students right now, but they are the workforce of the future, right? So it's important to give them those kinds of opportunities. And so have you encountered some students maybe, or even some employees that were maybe former interns or people who have come through and said, like, this was a tremendous opportunity, and makes them feel maybe more connected to the city as a result?
It definitely Juan. So one of the things we like to do is we like to partner with local college and universities and tell them about our internship programs so that those people who are going to college here, being educated here, want to stay here and work here. So at CPS Energy, maybe you want to be an electrical engineer, maybe you want to be an accountant. We have a huge array of different career paths at CPS Energy. And so we really want to grow those students here. You really are the future. Technology, innovation, it's what's going to fuel this energy transition, and your minds and learning and educating, and anything we can do to support that, we're all for it.
That's great. And that makes me think as well of something that a friend and I were chatting about most recently. So we know that the White House at the beginning of April announced a new initiative to help support schools across the country becoming more energy efficient. And again, not just important to talk about on Earth Day, but also because we have a lot of schools and students and teachers joining us today. What was interesting to me about this announcement is that they didn't necessarily say, well, who's going to benefit the most from this, or the future careers, which of course they will. There's going to be new jobs that are created in energy and water gradually over time. But what they pointed out very directly in this announcement is that our skilled trade workers are going to immediately benefit from this. And this really struck me when I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, because she said, really our skilled trade workers, they're almost like their own chief sustainability officers, each individually. And we shouldn't overlook that work that the skilled trades are doing, because everyone, say a plumber, for instance, they have that responsibility, that obligation to make sure that the water is getting from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible. So again, tackling the idea of sustainability, it's directly built in to these jobs, but we're often not connecting or associating those skilled trades as being these innovative jobs or these creative jobs when they are. So Julia, can you talk about maybe some initiatives or some programs that you've seen both in San Antonio and perhaps even beyond, across the country or even around the world, where we're looking at how do we connect those students who are interested in doing, like Angela was mentioning, the array of jobs, right? There's an array of jobs that are available. How are we connecting those students to those kinds of jobs, even in things like skilled trades?
That is a fabulous question. And I want to bring it back to the classic definition of sustainability, which is basically three intersecting rings. And the three rings are called different things, but the one I like is the environment, the economy, and equity. And when you talk about sustainability, meaning the three legs of a stool, if one of those legs is cut off or is not healthy for some reason, the other two legs can't stand up on their own. And so the reason I brought that definition in is because you can see that within those three sectors, there are millions of different types of careers that a person could pursue, because we need all hands on deck. We need the financial industry, the business side. We need policymakers. We need the trades, as you mentioned, everyone really working together to have the same goal in mind. And the goal is to reduce carbon emissions so that we can then, again, get back to maybe a healthier planet and then all benefit from it. So I think if we all understand that we have a small part to play, but it's going to benefit us all in such amazing ways, then that helps everyone think, yeah, I can get on board with this and look for ways to improve my own personal and professional life. Two things I'll mention at the city, we have lots of opportunities for young people to get involved in. One in particular is the Mayor's Youth Engagement Council for Climate Initiatives. It's for high school students. We've initiated it 2 years ago through Mayor Ron Nirenberg's office. And the third year will be starting up in August. So look for that information run by EcoRise, and we can put some information out with the follow-up. And then for students who are in college already, we have the City Ambassador Program, which is a very robust way to get an idea about how city government works. And remember, I told you about policy. So if you're interested in influencing the world through that trajectory, I encourage you to look at the City Ambassador Program when and if you're a college student.
Those all sound like fantastic opportunities. And I love what you were saying there, in influencing the world, because sometimes we think at an individual level, we can't make a difference, but really we can. There are a lot of things that we can do as individuals to help. And I want to talk about that. So, for students today, again, they might think, well, how can I really make a difference immediately? I know, some of those ways are things that they can start, steps that they can take today, right? Turning off the lights, or using a reusable, water container here. And so there's different things they can do. But Heather, what are some other ways that students might be able to make a difference?
Students and young people have so much power to make a huge difference every day. Oftentimes we think about students, not having as much power. Sometimes I think young people don't know the power that they hold, because they wake up, they got to go to school, they have all these rules, they have all these routines, but we do need to empower them more every day so that they know they have the power to change the world. they can do so much to save water inside the home. They can do so much sharing messaging on social media with other young people. They are our customers for Water and Power. They hold so much power to help us save those resources. So they might not know it. So I think it's our job as people that work in these industries to make sure they know it, to make sure that they can save just as much water as their parents in the home. They can, themselves, as just one example. So I think we need to continue to empower our youth so they know the power that they have, because they will be the future leaders of our city. And we should tell them that as much as we possibly can.
I absolutely and wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, education, right? Education is really step one. And I think step two is collaboration. So for example, what we are all doing here today, the fact that we have CPS Energy and SOLS in the city of San Antonio that are collectively collaborating as a part of not just this conversation and discussion, but also as a part of smart energy education. I think that that's really key. But those collaborations, those partnerships are so essential. And so, Angela, I want to ask you, from your perspective, why are these public-private partnerships so key to helping educate not just our students, but also our communities?
I think it's a lot of what you said, but it's mostly just understanding that we're all a team. So at the local level, you're a team, regionally, you're a team, globally, we're all a team. And we have to push these things forward to really make them happen. So anytime we can work with a partner, we're happy to do that. And I did want to go back to your water bottle example of just a way that, I don't know if people always recognize the indirect way that you're helping, but when you're not having to do bottled water at a facility, you're saving the energy from not bottling the water. Then you're also saving the transportation emissions from having to drive it to a store. Then you're saving even if you put it in the recycle bin, a recycle truck has to come by and pick that up from your house. So all those pieces and parts of a community where you can save emissions in little ways by teamwork and your individual behavior changing will make such a difference over time. So I think that's just, we have to realize that we're all in this together and it's a community effort.
So very true. All the tiny steps that we take on a daily basis, they add up over time. Absolutely. And I want to quickly remind our audience that if you do have any questions, please do submit them through the chat box. We're getting some comments in and absolutely agree that, again, when we're talking about the mix of financial, business, trade, policy, everybody working together, it's so true. That is, when we have that healthy mix and we have that, again, that collaboration, those are really key elements to moving things forward in a positive way. But I also want to pick up on what Angela was saying there, those steps, those things that we can take. Well, one of them is around what we call fast fashion today. And I know the EU announced also at the beginning of this month that they are looking at taking some steps that they want to try to tackle that from starting with the industries and saying hey, if you're a clothing manufacturer, there's things that you need to do, but then also encouraging people to look at recycling. So I don't have the data off the top of my head, Heather, I'm going to guess that you do, but for example, there's some things like our pair of jeans, right? One pair of jeans takes hundreds of gallons of water to make. Is that right?
Yes, good job, Juan. They sure do. So if we can buy jeans that last longer, that's good. If we can wash jeans less than we do in the washing machine, because we can totally you can wear your jeans way more than one time before you wash them. And better yet, if we can buy an old pair of Levi's jeans from the thrift store, even better yet. But yes, Juan, I definitely agree that we can think about these things and the choices we make every day when we wake up and we get dressed.
All about those choices that we make. And that is a great segue to our final question here. And we're coming up on time, but I want to ask each of you to quickly tell us and to share with our audience today. I think this is really key and is really critical because especially when you're young and you're not necessarily thinking about your career or your pathways. And I think all of us would agree that our pathways don't always, end up where we thought that they were going to start. So I want each of you to share with our audience a little bit about your career pathway. What inspired you to be in the career that you're in today, and how did you get there? So Julia, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, I like to say I took a curvy path to where I am now. And I actually started out in the business world with a business degree and spent the first half of my professional career in the private sector all over the world. Actually, I worked overseas, and I was increasingly concerned about the health of the planet and wanted to just really do something like that for a professional career. So at a late age, I went back to school and then entered this career field at an advanced stage. So my message to you all is it's never too late. Follow your dreams, truly. And if you have a passion for something, you will find a way. And I would say that looking back, all of my experience has led to this point in time. So I didn't know it was going to, but it was very beneficial. And always learn. Education and empowerment, and both, everyone has used those words, but that is actually a theme in our climate plan. And it starts with awareness and letting people know about things, just, education and awareness, and then you become empowered. So always seek out as much education as you can. And two more points, and then I'll yield the floor. But I wanted to also say that be proud to live in, if you're from San Antonio tuning in, we are really progressive in so many ways. And two of the things that have just been celebrated this past week are that San Antonio is a leader in solar energy and has been for quite some time, but we continue to excel. So that's awesome. And then we also are one of only 2 cities in the state of Texas who pick up compost at your curbside if you're in the city. Compost for me is the gateway to sustainability. I love composting. Everyone can do it from home. So I encourage you to give that a try too. And thank you so much. It was really fun to talk to y'all today about everything.
Thank you so much. And Angela, how about you?
Sure. I'll go a little further back in time. When I was a child, I did know that I loved nature and I loved animals. So I wanted to be a veterinarian. But my grandpa had a cattle ranch, and one time I actually saw a baby cow being born. And when I realized that vets didn't just like hug puppies and kittens all day, I thought that is obviously not probably the career path for me. So once I got to college and I knew I loved math, I knew I loved science, I knew I loved chemistry. And I was tutoring this guy, and he was like, "You're really good at math. You should be an engineer." And I was like, I really didn't even know what an engineer was at the time. So I went to the counselor's office, I learned more about it, and I thought chemical engineering seemed like a really good path. So I got a degree in that, but I've never actually done any chemical engineering. I went into the power industry. I loved it. I saw how I could be helpful from an environmental perspective. And so eventually I ended up at CPS Energy doing environmental work. And kind of like Julia said, you take all these curves and roads, but you end up right where you're supposed to be. And I really enjoy working on climate and sustainability topics. And so I'm going to continue doing that for as long as I can.
That is an incredible story. Thank you so much, Angela. And Heather, you and I have had a chance to talk about our curvy pathways. Tell everyone about your curvy pathway. Oh, we might have lost Heather. Oh, there she is.
I'm here. You all froze. I'm sorry, Juan.
It was just like a drum roll. The drum roll leading up.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but I know the question, so I'll answer it to respect everybody's time because we're at time. I went a different pathway. I am a Texas tradeswoman, and I am proud of it. I know Juan already asked about the trades. So my path was as a landscape designer, designing landscapes. And as a tradeswoman out in the field, every decision I made with every plant selection for every customer affected how much water they were going to use outside, right? And so I worked in water already before I worked in water. And so I was really, really excited when I learned of all the water conservation programs at SAWS. And I applied for the job in the conservation department at SAWS, and I've never looked back. And I also hold 3 water licenses in the state of Texas, 3 trades licenses through the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. These licenses will ensure, without a doubt, I will never be without a job in the state of Texas. So I would be very passionate to share with you all. The trades route is another pathway. This pathway can be very rewarding. And just to piggyback on your question before about the trades, Juan, how to draw people to the trades, please, everyone, let's stop talking about the trades as an alternative route that's lesser than if you just can't make it in university. Because I'm here to tell you it's not. It's an equally rewarding and incredible career. Please consider the trades as an option. Please know it's an option. And thank you also for inviting a tradeswoman to the panel with 2 very important leaders in San Antonio. It all starts with that. I think it starts with education. Thank you for inviting me today.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that passion and advocacy, and just above all, reflecting on that it takes a combination, collaboration, a mix. It takes everybody, and together, right, we are going to help create a more resourceful world. So thank you, everyone. That is going to bring us to the end of our panel discussion. This has been a great conversation, and we appreciate all of the audience participation. We'd like to thank everyone for their time today, especially our panelists, and to the students and the schools and the teachers who joined us. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Itron Incorporated and CPS Energy, for making today's event possible. Of course, thanks as well to KLRN Public Television for hosting the screening and this panel. And thanks to our partners, the Weber Energy Group at the University of Texas at Austin and Alpheus Media, for their support. If you'd like to learn more about Power Trip, the story of energy, please do visit powertripshow.com. And if you'd like to more about energy and water, please visit smartenergyeducation.com. Thank you all, and have a wonderful Earth Day.